Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Namaste,
Good.
Iris. Good to
Namaste.
yeah, again.
Yeah.
Always, always. This has been a fascinating year. We started in September of last year, did we not?
Yeah, early September. I think our first one was like September 3rd or 8th. I can't, somewhere in there. I have to go back and look. But
So
yeah, we
so
got more than 52 of these suckers.
we forgot to nab that 1 year mark.
Yeah, I think well, there was one day you weren't on and I mentioned it.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, yeah, I said, I think this is our 1 year anniversary. And
Yeah, that's
I'm
better.
sorry, I can't remember our anniversary, Mark. I'm doing good to know what
No
today
soup
is.
for you.
She's going to divorce me from this program because
Not this time. Oh, we got bigger cookies to crumble.
yes, yes. Oh my God.
So
Yeah, so we're waiting on people to join us. Did you pull up YouTube?
I have not tried pulling up YouTube,
Okay. I'm just curious to make sure,
but
if
I
nothing
did
else.
include the YouTube link everywhere I posted for the show. So
Yeah. So I just I keep meaning to check if Mercury's in retrograde because it's like everything
yeah,
that
it can easily do that.
the technical crap is off the map. You know, it's like um
Almost every single planet is in retrograde this year.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So
yeah,
okay, so we're good. We got
that's pretty cool. Go ahead.
uh um it's 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 really wacky to listen to you talk and watch our stream, which is a few seconds behind, and then try myself to talk. I'm like, ah, yeah. So we're live on YouTube. Just
Too
give it a few
much. Too
minutes.
much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Too
A
hot. Too
brain
hot.
overload. Brain overload. Danger, Will Robinson.
Robinson.
Danger.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh God.
Well,
Yeah. So
so if anybody's out there, type
yeah.
in the comment section. Let's say hello and
Yes,
let us know
please.
you're here.
Because yeah, otherwise we're dancing with each other. Which is fine. We can talk forever.
Oh my God, yeah.
But I know
Have
some
questions.
people read, yeah, and so we want people to ask questions and we want people to let us know that you're watching. Um I will go ahead and explain. On Facebook we can't stream tonight because I got put in Facebook jail, so to speak.
Woo!
And I did it. The thing is, yeah, the thing is, if you're gonna get put in Facebook jail, let me make it something
Worth it.
magnanimous. Yeah, this was. They found a 2-year-old post. I posted it in 2019, and I should have pulled it up here, but I got enough stuff in my
It's
tray
a
here
black
to.
and white photo of a kid with a fork and a power outlet. That's all.
And
Yeah,
it,
that's all it
yeah,
is.
and it says this kid is going places, not college, but places. And I put it up 2 years ago because it struck me so funny. And now Facebook's policy specifically says that they will not allow any posts that show harm to others or self harm or that
Or
promotes,
promote suicide.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you're taking off all Gary Lawson cartoons. You're
Huh?
taking off the DC comic posts, the Marvel comics, there's a
A
ton
lot,
of
a lot of historical stuff. Anything that's war related, World War I, World War II, Afghanistan, Korea, Persian Gulf, all that.
The Simpsons,
The Simpsons,
because every other thing in there, I
South
mean,
Park, all of it.
yeah.
So, Iris, are you seeing a pattern
Oh
among
God.
these things? Can you detect the pattern, the commonality between all these things besides violence?
Control.
Control, yeah, I didn't
Censorship, which
censorship.
by the way, it is banned book week also.
Yay, Banned Book Week.
Yay.
Actually, every single one of those franchises we just named,
Mm-hmm.
and every single one of those social events we just named, social events. Hi, Deborah.
I love the
Uh,
picture, Deborah.
that's a wonderful one. Heart glasses.
Yeah.
Every single one of those franchises, every single one of those historical events were all reveals. They're all famous for being reveals. South Park,
Oh yeah.
Simpsons, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, World War I, World War II, Persian Gulf, Afghanistan. Every single one of them is a reveal to the shadow stuff. Let's stop there.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So they didn't block my account. And then, well, 6 months ago, I was blocked out for like 24 hours because I posted I posted two pictures. One was a famous Einstein quote and it had Einstein's picture, and the other was a quote by Hitler that was very revealing about how you don't. It was something about, I can't remember what the quote is, but it was basically applicable to things that were going on now about being
It was
like,
relevant.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was relevant, and they took it off because it was Hitler. And
Mhm.
I guess, okay, so forgive me for showing a little bit of history.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like I was a
Honey,
white
that's a reveal.
supremacist.
No, that's a reveal. They don't want you pointing out that
Yeah.
they are Hitler. Yeah.
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 And so I got put in Facebook jail for 24 hours. This time with that stupid kid and the knife or fork going in the wall
Out.
socket. Um they s- it's a 2-year-old post, and when they said, we won't let you share things that promote self-harm. If you were in need of suicide prevention, please contact. And I thought, I did that 2 years ago. I could be dead for all you know. Which, that was another stupid thing. But anyway, so for 30 days I cannot live stream on Facebook.
I think you're down to 25,
Yeah,
26. Yeah.
20,
Yeah.
25,
We'll
24, something.
we'll be back next month. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, on Facebook. But in the
On
meantime,
Facebook
we still got YouTube, and so we'll put the YouTube link on Facebook
until.
until then. And you might say, well, why doesn't Margo do it? Well, I could give Margo. Well, no, I couldn't. I started the account that we use to broadcast that links to the Facebook.
And it links to yours.
So it's mine. All roads follow back to me, and so even if I gave her the logins
The
and stuff,
lessons. Yeah.
it's yeah. So 30 days, 25 days, whatever. So probably part of November we're going to be on just on YouTube, but that's okay. We can always upload the video to.
Well, we'll come back by late October
Yeah.
on
Oh, that's
Facebook.
right. October. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're still in September right now.
I'm getting so confused because I've been planning stuff for October, and I've got October on the
You're
brain, and
you're
I
thinking
know
it's
we're at the
October.
end of the month, and I've talked myself into end of October. No, we're not at the end of October. Time flies, but anyway. So today's, first of all, if we're, well, and we know everybody's coming to us from YouTube today. So if you're watching, let us know. Say hello.
Type in the
Um,
comments.
yes.
Give us your
As
questions.
as the program goes, please ask questions there also, and we'll pick them up. And we are today, Margo is going to take the floor. Um, she is a Reiki master and teacher, and I have taken down my description. Let me
You want me
find
to
it.
you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I won't botch it up.
No worries. I am an Usui Reiki master teacher, which is considered a fourth level teacher, Reiki 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the Usui Reiki tradition. This means I can teach all levels of Reiki, including other teachers, which I have been doing since 2003. And I have taught over 300 masters and probably about 150 master teachers, Reiki teachers, many of whom are still practicing today. And I also do other related stuff like meditation teacher and drumming circles and uh, chakra classes and crystal classes and all kinds of other related good stuff. But today we're going to focus on Reiki. Now, becoming a Reiki teacher, a little bit more of my resume is I'm also a former public educator. I used to be an English teacher and then an English professor, both in America and in Japan. So it was a natural transition for when I learned Reiki to shoot on through and go to the teacher level right away. So I studied Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki Master, and Reiki Master Teacher, which is also called 3 and 4, in 2 years. Inside of 2 years in Greensboro, under under 3 different instructors. And all 3 of those instructors also used the exact same textbook by William Lee Rand. So I consider him a secondary instructor, sort of, but I did not study directly with him, but I did study often with his books. Not always, but most of the time. And then, of course, I did a lot of self-study, and I moved my Reiki Master and Reiki Teacher classes way much further forward than what I was taught. So essentially, I've been 5 teachers, including myself.
You got your first question.
Yay! Does Reiki have anything to do with gardening? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. If you can, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, actually, I think her reference is, let me find it. Where is it? Wait a minute.
Is there a book called Reiki and Gardening or something? Or a website?
I have a picture to share.
Well, while you're doing that, can I answer the question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Anything you can touch or see or think about. That's a lot. Anything you can touch, see, or think about, you can you can do Reiki on it. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Reiki and raking and Reikiing is 2 different things.
Yeah. And the cartoon is a woman. One woman's laying face down on a massage bed, and the other woman's has a garden rake. And the woman laying down says, "I have to say, I had a different impression on what Reiki is all about."
Absolutely.
And knowing my sister, that's the what
cartoon she was coming up.
Yeah.
You can do Reiki on during gardening while you're touching the water, touching the plants, touching the soil, and so on. But no, actually raking and Reikiing, 2 different processes that very vaguely you use your hands in both cases, but that's where the similarity stops for the most part. Good question, honey. And good lead in for the cartoon too.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's, I have a whole lot more background, but that is my Reiki background in those 2 things. So there is a bunch, we called this show Unwrapping Reiki. And we wanted, excuse me, to talk about things like what does Reiki actually, it's in the blurb for the post for tonight's show. Like, what does it say? What does Reiki actually do? Where does Reiki come from? good things like that, some of the basic stuff. And if you guys want to ask questions that are a whole lot more profound than the basic stuff, of course, we welcome that and would love to do that. Answer things that are much more philosophical. However, a lot of people have misconceptions about what Reiki is and is not. And a lot of people don't really know the actual history of where Reiki came from and what it actually does do or can do and doesn't do. There's misconceptions too. So, Iris, while we're waiting for questions to come up, if people feel like commenting or asking questions, that's cool. Where do you feel like we should start on the old questionos? Aha, you got a picture to show. Oh, my computer froze up, or Iris is froze up. I'm not sure. It looks like Iris is froze. She'll come back. That is my Reiki teacher certificate. Oop, she came back. And
yes, sorry. I'm froze.
That's all right. Kathy Phillips was my last teacher out of the three. And you can see the lineage of who my teachers were up to her on the left bottom corner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to throw. And does this have anything?
Yes. And I was going to say, if you want to throw up that tree, that flowchart tree, that's actually a breakdown of my Reiki 1 and 2. That's all three formal teachers. Look at the top.
Gotcha.
Usui Mikao, the founder of Reiki. And he taught Hayashi, who taught Takata. And two of Takata's students were Furumoto and Samdal. My Reiki 1 and 2 teacher came from Virginia Samdal. And my master and master teacher teachers, Gail Niles and Kathy Phillips, came from the Furumoto lineage, which, as you can also see, includes William Lee Rand, which I referred to earlier, and I'll probably refer to again eventually. In other words, he studied with Leah Smith, who studied with Carol Ann Farmer, who studied under Phyllis Furumoto. So Gail taught Kathy and me, and then I finished up with just Kathy in 2003. Yeah. So
very cool.
That gives you, just a little bit of make it less convoluted of a chart.
So not knowing what Reiki is, can you start with the basics?
Yes. Reiki is the elevator speech. Reiki is a Japanese style of hands-on or off touch therapy. It's a style of Japanese touch therapy. The majority of people, to give you a better brain wrap on that, the majority of people who studied with me are massage therapists, nurses, doctors, pet owners, parents, people with chronic illness, such as fibromyalgia or cancer or diabetes and things like that. People who want a healing modality instantly available on demand at any time, anywhere, or they can incorporate it in their profession and go and move it to the next level in their touch profession, such as esthetician or a massage therapist, doctors and nurses, and PAs and EMTs. They've all studied with me, and all types of occupations have studied with me. Psychologists and psychiatrists have studied with me too, because Reiki affects mental emotional healing as well. And I'm switching from physical to that because it goes even further. Reiki does physical healing. It also does mental emotional healing. It also does spiritual healing. And there's one other: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It also does emotional healing. That's the one I forgot.
Okay.
So it heals on all four levels.
And just to kind of give people a visual for, it's not this, but
there's a photo of what it looks like. Yeah.
Well, I was going to show the Miyagi one.
Oh, the Miyagi one. Thank you. So the misconception about what it is. Yes, blow that one out so you can, if you want to read it to us.
I thought I did. Wait a minute. Okay, it's Miyagi, and why is it not?
It's showing on this screen.
Is it showing whoops, wait a minute.
Now we're back.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, just
Oh,
like,
it says you left and came back.
oh.
Yeah.
All right, Miyagi, come back to me. Miyagi. Okay, show that. Okay, now go. All right. So it shows Miyagi, and he's standing over Daniel-san while he, in from
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, and it says the person that wrote this said, "I never realized until now the important lessons that were in Karate Kid. Things I'm only now learning. Mr. Miyagi was doing Reiki when he was healing Daniel, not to mention how he emphasizes breathing throughout the movie in karate and in life. Another reason to love this movie." But actually, um, he's not doing Reiki. You said it was a precursor?
Yes, he's actually doing Qigong or Qigong. In Japanese, it's called Kiko or Kaiko. And in America, we call it Qigong or Qigong. And that is the predecessor to Reiki in that was a similar practice that looks similar that the founder of Reiki, Usui, was doing. He was a Qigong practitioner. And in his meditation on Mount Kuruyama in 19 around 1920, because he went famous with it in 1922. Around 1920, he went on a 21-day meditation. He was a practicing Buddhist. He went to Mount Kurama, which was famous for that. He did a 21-day retreat, meditated under a waterfall that was hitting his crown chakra. It was famous for it. And he got the information about how to do energetic healing, touch intentional healing, energy medicine on other people without draining yourself to do it. How to pull energy out of the environment instead of draining the practitioner. And then the practitioner has to go back and eat a certain way and meditate a certain way and sleep a certain way and avoid certain things and do Tai Chi to restock and restock and restock so you can go treat someone else. In Reiki, you don't have to do that. And that's what he asked for. He asked for a healing method that does not deplete the healer, the practitioner. And so what Miyagi is doing, he goes,
Which is probably just to warm up his hands.
It actually does more than that. Yes,
Okay.
it does do that, but it does more than that. It actually activates the minor chakras in your fingers and in your hands, and it brushes away blockages so that you can really cook the crap out of somebody. in the qigong method, and yeah, because cold hands doesn't matter, which is a really interesting question that comes up a lot during Reiki classes. Cold hands matter because sometimes Reiki hands get hot, which you may have heard of that. Hot Reiki hands. Not necessarily. Some people's hands get colder and colder. About 10%. About 10% of people, it goes the other way. And that's just a Qigong thing to activate the Qi in their hands to start healing. And in that case, Miyagi was giving his energy to Daniel-san, where in Reiki, it would have been pulling it out of the environment, and Daniel-san would have benefited just as much.
Let's see. Deborah's got another question. My massage therapist does a Reiki at the end of the session. She always puts her hands up in the air and swirls the air. What is she doing?
She is moving Qi. You have, throw up that Roy G. Biv picture. You have a chakra system, all humans do, down the middle of their body. You have 7 main chakras, and each chakra is represented by a color because each chakra vibrates at the same speed that light wave vibrates. In other words, the first chakra vibrates at the same speed that the color red vibrates in light. Your second chakra is orange, third chakra, yellow, heart chakra, chest and arms is green or pink or pearl, which is a whole nother discussion. Then there is the blue chakra at your throat that goes up to your teeth and sinuses and ears, and it vibrates with the blue. Then there's your third eye chakra, which is indigo, which is like a black light, bluish purple. At your brow, it covers your brain, your eyes, your sinuses, and all your brain functions in your skull, upper skull, not including your jaw. That's your throat chakra. And then the last chakra is the very top of your head, the crown chakra, which is often violet or purple, but sometimes it is gold or white. So this cloud of energy coming out of these little vortexes, they're spinning balls of energy, spinning, vibrating balls of energy up the middle of your body. Those vibrations radiate outwards away from your body. Generally speaking, depending on how you're feeling, depending on what's going on around you, depending on your health, they generally radiate out about 3 feet. Okay. If you're not feeling good, or somebody is making, or something is making you feel insecure, you'll pull it in, and you can pull it all the way up to your skin. If you want to help somebody else and you're feeling big and huge and magnanimous and happy and relaxed and safe, and you're totally rocking it out at a concert and the whole crowd is moving at the same time and everybody's all on one page, your aura can be, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet away from you. It can be huge. Day to day, it's about 3 feet. When something is going on with a human body on the physical level, like tight muscles or an ache or a pain or an illness, it will show up in the way that chakra spins and acts, and the distortion, it shows up as a distortion. The distortion also shows up in your aura, in the energy around you. That 3 feet, it's all the way around you, by the way. You're inside of an egg, a ball of energy that's your own, and those are the layers in it. So that distortion shows up in the corresponding layer. Let's say you had a cramp in your leg and the massage therapist was working on it. That red layer all around your legs, which is huge on the human body, as you can see from the diagram that we had up, that distortion shows up in your chakra outside of your body, and somebody who is a Reiki master or higher usually can actually use their hands to treat that distortion in your aura field, in that energy ball all the way around you, as well as your physical body. And that's what she's doing. She's sweeping. That's what you perceive as swirling and so on. That's a way of sweeping and clearing and cleaning. Your aura and your chakra should be moving and swirling. So her sweeping it through is also pushing it along so that it keeps moving the way it should. A stagnant or slow chakra is not a healthy chakra. It needs to keep moving and flowing. Chi is what is flowing through it. Chi, ki, orgone energy, prana, ruach, Holy Spirit. These are animal magnetism. These are all words that are other Western words for the same thing that the word chi means in Asian cultures or Japanese and Chinese cultures. And that's what she's doing. She's doing healing on your aura as well. Long answer. Long answer, sorry.
No, that's good. Do you want me to show the fingertips? Well,
yes. If you want to see a nice photographic representation of what Reiki actually looks like on film, this is a picture that a Reiki master touched the Kirlian photography film twice with 4 fingers. The person meditated and turned on Reiki in their hand, and then reached inside the photo bag and touched the film for about a second or two, took their hand out and went back in and touched it a second time. That's why you're seeing 8 fingerprints. The person just touched the film twice, and you're seeing the energy radiating out from around where their fingertips touched on the film. And there's a second picture that shows a different person. It looks different on different people, and you'll see that in just a second.
Yeah, here we go.
When a different Reiki master did the same thing, that person's energy threw out a rainbow effect, and you can see indigo and red and yellow, blue and navy, and you can even see a streak of energy. That's actually not their pinky, that was their thumb. You can see sort of a lighter purple streak on the left side, that's where the thumb was hovering really close to the film when the person put their fingertips down. So you're seeing energy radiating out of the side of that person's thumb. So they actually did their first 4 fingers and you don't see a pinky. I remember now reading the description about that.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like on film, energetically. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. And I'm kind of, well, I thought I hit hide and I didn't. All right. So I'm trying to make sure I've got all my
Well, while you're doing,
graphics in order.
then let me go ahead and answer the first question that was actually in our promo that said, what does Reiki actually do to our bodies?
Yes.
As you've already heard me talk about, Reiki is a tech. I need to back up a little further. Reiki, what does it mean? Reiki actually means universal energy, a God sent universal energy, the universe, the energy of God in the universe that universally flows through all things. All right, Usui Reiki. Usui is the name of the founder of the style of Reiki that I've learned. So it's called Usui Reiki. There's more than one type of Reiki. Whole nother question. Now, when somebody does Reiki on someone else, you are helping them move their chi, their prana, their organ energy. Excuse me, I need a little bit of Reiki. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that while I'm talking. They use, they move all that energy, they move that person's chi energy, and they add to it from the environment. You pull the energy out of the environment during a Reiki treatment, and you're flushing the energy through their body. Now, while you're flushing that energy through their body and and through their chakras and auras around their body as well, while you're doing that, what's actually happening is, if you recall, I was talking about the map of the 7 chakras. I listed the rainbow: Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. We just call them Roy G. Biv. While it's moving the energy, chi, through all those energies, it's working on your chakra system, which correlates with your endocrine system, which is that little chart of boxes over to the left of the picture. You can see the correlation between each chakra and each major endocrine system. There's also a correlation in acupuncture as well. Reiki correlates with almost every type of body healing system you can think of. And it raises the energetic vibration on a quantum level, on a ethereal level, and on a molecular vibrational level to get that chakra, which affects all of its surrounding organs and body parts, to all vibrate and sync with each other. Once that layer is in sync, then it'll start syncing up with the next layer and start syncing up with the next layer or the next layer below it. So the reverse happens when you have an illness. You notice that, like, you have a chest cold and later on your throat starts hurting and then your back starts hurting and then you want to go to sleep and you can't sleep very well. And now your ears are hurting from laying on one side. Blah, 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 blah. It's a chain reaction. The negative illness and the effects of it start radiating out. Same thing happens when you heal. You start healing one center and getting those molecular and quantum vibrations and energetic and chi vibrations in sync with each other the way they're supposed to be. That has a wave effect as well, butterfly effect, whatever you want to call that. And same thing, it starts radiating so that your whole body eventually gets back into alignment. Depending on how sick you are and how much you're invested in staying sick, or how much invested you are in getting better, it determines how fast you gain wellness again. The patient controls the treatment every time, not the practitioner. The patient controls the treatment. Your body decides how much Reiki you're going to accept or reject. Your body decides where it goes first, and where it goes second, and where it goes third, and where it goes fourth, and where it goes fifth. Your body determines that on its own. It chooses, human bodies choose highest need first. So if you got a headache and you're not feeling good and somebody zaps your head, I call it zapping. That's a professional term for it. And somebody zaps your head for you and you start getting sleepy and you're like, okay, stop. I got to finish work. I mean, it's only 2:00. I got to finish working. I'm so sleepy, man. You worked on me and I'm starting it. That's because your highest need was a lack of sleep, not the headache issue. Okay. So
I've
you're,
got, yeah.
as an example. Yeah.
I want two things. One is the Roy G. Biv. Also, my understanding is like if you're say you've got a cold, if you visualize green, that will help with the healing. And there's also musical notes, and I know we talked about it in a previous. I'd have to go back and
Yes.
look, but the musical notes also
Blow
follow.
up, blow up the chart. Let them see it. The musical notes are on there too.
Ah, wonderful. But I don't have my
Let's look at the,
glasses on.
that's okay. So look at the green box in the middle, and it has an arrow pointing at the green cloud. And it says fourth chakra, heart. And it also names stones, colors,
And the
green
note
from
of
pink,
F.
note of F, and it correlates with your thymus gland and your endocrine system.
Yeah, so
Yes,
CDEFGAB. So it's just like the scales,
it is
you
just
know,
like the scale. Yes,
but
it
it
is.
starts with C and goes up from there. So yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Um the other thing I wanted to mention. So like in other words, if you have notes that you listen to that correlate with your ailments.
It helps to listen to that kind of healing meditation music while you do a treatment. And what you're describing is the power of intention, which Reiki works perfectly with as well. When you focus on green, when you focus on that note, when you play that note music for your chest cold, green, 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 or pink and green, whichever one you want or feel into, what's happening is you're focusing all attention on that vibrational level. So if you're thinking green, the green part of your body, which is chest and arms, is going to get more and more active. And if it's sick and sickly with a chest cold, it's not very active. So it needs a push. You thinking about it, you listening to it, you do it, having Reiki treatments either from yourself or from other people. Doesn't matter. They're just as effective. Either way, that all those things are going to activate awareness towards the green energy, green vibration, green chakra, green everything, heart chakra, and all correlating body parts to it. And Reiki accelerates all of that. Okay, it can start it or it can accelerate what's already in play.
It
It's kind of
also sounds a little bit like I know like with theta healing, we work with finding those core beliefs and or those
yes,
and because the healing doesn't work if somebody has a belief that it shouldn't work. So if somebody so I was hearing you say something similar in that the body determines and the person
mm,
decides.
mm.
So if they think, oh, this is a crock and but I'm doing this because my daughter sent me and I'll just see
I'll
what
play along,
happens.
right?
Yeah, it's not going to be as effective. Is that correct?
Wrong.
Oh,
That's an excellent point, but wrong. Thank you, because that's one of the points I wanted to talk about. You do not have to have any kind of understanding, awareness, or belief in the process of Reiki for Reiki to work. You don't even have to be aware that somebody's doing it to you. It can be done without your permission. There are controversial discussions about whether or not to get permission and when and how, and what if the person's unconscious and you're trying to help save them. How do you do Reiki without permission? You talk to their higher selves and you get their higher selves permission if permission is an issue for you. If you are an intuitive person, you find out intuitively, would this person give me permission to do this or not? And you'll know in a second. You don't have to waste time verbalizing. You can get right in there and do it. By the way, if somebody hires you to do Reiki, then obviously they've given you permission to do Reiki without having to ask. They've already instigated that. In other words, use your common sense and you can figure that out. However, you can do Reiki on pets. You can do Reiki on inanimate objects. You can do Reiki on your spirit guides, on your angels, on your ancestors. You can do it on yourself in your sleep. You can do it on a baby. You can do it on a puppy. You can do it on your food. You can medicine, your water bottle all day long, your car, the chair you're sitting in, your keyboard, your computer, everything. You can do it on everything. And as you can tell, a lot of those things do not have the capacity to understand conversationally what is Reiki. Yes, I want it. Yet no, I do not. In an explanation of it. Reiki is the practice of moving chi. Chi flows automatically through all things. Before Reiki was ever understood or invented thousands of years ago, long before Usui rediscovered it in 1920. He was born in 1865. So chi has always been moving. Humans are made of chi. We're a part of chi. It's like water. Humans are made of water. We're a part of the whole water scene and the whole water cycle. Humans are also made of chi. We're a whole part of this whole chi scene and the whole chi cycle of chi always moving. Reiki is the process of helping chi move better, quicker, more efficiently. Therefore, you don't need permission to do it. It's like giving somebody permission to breathe. No. It's going to happen whether you agree to it or not. The difference, I touched my screen. The difference between, did I lose you completely?
No, you're here.
Okay, I'm still, cool. All right. The difference between the difference of effect between somebody who knows you're doing it and somebody who doesn't is somebody that has awareness, who's paying attention, say like in a treatment or they ask you for it, they physically experience more of the sensation. Okay, they actually, in other words, they get to enjoy it. They actually get to enjoy it. Somebody who's not aware does not feel it on the same level that they do. They might have a vague sensation of a push or a pull or a little bit of heat or a tiny bit of flowing or a shifting of awareness, or the pain is fading away or the pain is shifting somewhere else in their body, something like that. But they won't be consciously aware of an improvement until later. And they won't be aware of where it came from. That's the only difference. You cognizantly enjoy it and know where it came from, or it happens and you don't get to enjoy it and you don't know where it came from. That's the only difference that permission makes.
I'm curious, you mentioned that like we can do it for our spirit guides and for angels and stuff like that, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Do they do it for us?
Yes. Constantly. And you can ask them to kick it up. You can ask them, hit me harder. It's like, look, I really need to go to sleep and I'm having a hard time relaxing. Guys, can you zap me a little bit more? And they can double it down. You can do Reiki at an easy level, or you can double it up and make it more intense, make it super intense. You can, if you want to study through master or teacher level, you can make Reiki experience an extremely intense experience and scare the hell out of someone who's absolutely convinced that this is nothing. Oh, I have freaked people out. and it obviously it's fun. It is so fun to do a demonstration on somebody and freak them out, especially when they're a real naysayer. because I have a feeling, I have a knowing that I've been doing energetic healing for several lifetimes, and that I've been teaching it for a long time. So I'm very, very intrinsically attuned to Reiki. For me, it's sort of getting back in the old boat that I've paddled a million times, and I'm very, very comfortable here. So when somebody asks me for Reiki or for a demonstration, literally within 3 seconds, my hand is, you can almost see heat waves coming off of my hand when I touch you. It's like, I'm already melting ice cream and freaking people out. What I typically do is tell them, hold out your hand, and they'll hold, and they'll go like this. And I'll say, turn your hand over. And I'll put my hand not above their hand, but above their arm. And I'll turn where you can see. I'm not touching. And that's where I keep it. I keep it where I'm not touching. And I wait about half a minute. And I tell them, can you feel any? I ask them, can you feel anything? And they always go, always go, yeah, it's getting warm. It's getting warmer. I'm like, all right. And I stay there for about another 10, 20 seconds. So I was like, how about now? And they're like, it's getting hotter. Absolutely. I said, now, I got a question to ask you. Laws of physics, and while I'm hovering over them, laws of physics, which way does heat move? When heat comes out in nature, where does it move? And they always go up. How are you feeling heat from me if I am above you? What? That's not me. And that's actually not heat. That's chi. And I'm moving chi. Heat rises. I'm above you. That's not heat. Humans interpret it as heat, and that's normal. And at that point, I'll go ahead and rest my hand on them, and they go, because at that point I'm pushing chi into their arm, and there are people that went, whoa, and they'll pull back because they can actually feel it coming at them. Other people are like, do it again, which is awesome. Awesome.
I've had people talk about, there was a guy I was seeing for a while, and he said, your hands are always warm. And
you move chi naturally. Yeah.
And it is. I mean, they're different.
It's doing it right now because I'm talking about it. Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about it.
But it's not like my hands stay sweaty or anything like that. So but I've always wondered, okay, it's like I've got this feeling I could do something with this, but I don't know what.
We'll play with that in November.
Okay.
You and I. And Debbie Gossett joined us, and she said, yay, she finally got back. Good to see you again, sweetie. Glad. Feel free, if you just hopped in, feel free to rewind to the beginning of the show in the recording. Some of our friends. Hi, Ruthie. You said you're going to watch later, so I thought I'll throw that in. And you have a friend watching from another country later on, and to the wants to learn about Reiki. So feel free, Debbie, to start from the beginning because we're just jam-packed with information all the way through this episode.
Yes.
Iris, where else are we going to go with this tonight?
Oh, let me throw one of these up. This is a woman. It's a cartoon. She's got a cat on the table, and the cat is there's a cat chart behind her. It looks like the chart we were just showing of humans. And it says, you have a hairball blocking your third chakra. Which, yes. And
could be.
Yeah.
I thought this one. There's a whole branch of Reiki called Pet Reiki or Animal Reiki. And they do have their own chakra systems that are kind of like in the same places as humans, but not exactly. I highly recommend going to a Pet Reiki or an Animal Reiki class, even if you already are Reiki 1 or Reiki 2 for yourself, because Pet Reiki, Animal Reiki is a little bit different. However, if you're Reiki 2 or higher, you can do long distance Reiki on anything, which means you can intend Reiki to go to an animal a couple inches away, a couple of feet away, several yards away, several miles away. You can do Reiki by intention as well, and not have to study if you don't want to.
And so, and that was one of the things I was wondering was the difference between Reiki. Well, there's a couple of different questions around that one. The atonement versus treatment.
Attunement.
Attunement, sorry. Atonement.
Reiki atonement, you have been forgiven of all Reiki. There actually is a Reiki symbol that's kind of close. You can do it on yourself. Those who know just know what I just did. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. But anyway.
You know what's interesting that I just realized?
What's the difference?
Atonement, ATONE.
It's one letter different.
At one.
At one. Ooh, very good. Atonement at one. Ooh, interesting. We'll have to look that up. All right, so an attunement.
Chills, yeah.
It should.
Yeah.
All right, an attunement and a Reiki attunement and a Reiki treatment are two very different things. Both are extremely pleasant and both cause healing. However, what else happens is the difference. When you get a Reiki treatment, there is a Reiki practitioner, which can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever Reiki level they're at, a Reiki practitioner who is doing Reiki practices on a client or receiver person. And that person is there in the position of receiving Reiki chi energy through the Reiki practices of a Reiki practitioner. And that's it. It's a one-way flow of energy. Matter of fact, Reiki is always a one-way flow of energy. So, which is also unique to it. So a Reiki attunement, though, is a different situation. That is when a Reiki teacher is giving Reiki skills through a specialized meditation ritual to a Reiki student. So who's participating and what's the intention is the difference. A Reiki treatment is a practitioner doing practices on a client.
And an attunement is like an expert tweaking the...
An attunement is a teacher-student situation.
Yeah.
Is a teacher only, no exception. An attunement is a teacher passing skills and awarenesses to a student.
Got it.
Both processes have a healing effect, but the extra outcome is an attunement. Now the student can perform those practices on a client and do the other thing. So an attunement can lead to a treatment, but not the other way around.
Gotcha. So what's the difference then between long distance and non-contact Reiki?
Nothing. And ooh, pun. There's almost a pun in there. You have to fish for it a little bit. All right. A long distance Reiki is sending energy over any distance without contact. So if that means the distance is a couple of millimeters or hundreds of thousands of miles, it doesn't matter. Distance is distance, simply because time and distance, here's a big long discussion, time and distance are a man-made construct that only exists in the 3D. Reiki exists on all dimensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all dimensions. Yes, we will take this with us to the 4th D and the 5th D because it goes even further than that.
Well, and that makes sense because we wouldn't be able to do it on higher beings if they couldn't experience it. Yeah.
Yeah, if it didn't experience it. Oh, trust me, they love it. Sending Reiki back to your guides, to God, to angels, is an energetic way of saying thank you and an energetic way of blessing them as well. When they bless you, you can bless them back, or you can start it and bless them first and send them Reiki long distance. Long distance Reiki, hover. No, there's no difference to an individual that's actually physically doing that. Non-contact Reiki usually is a thing of hovering near somebody's skin or body, and you're standing within proximity of them. Okay, is a non-contact treatment. However, a long distance treatment, you don't even have to be in the same room. You don't have to be on the same continent. You don't have to be on the same planet. You don't even have to be in the same timeline. You can be anywhere. Beginning people use a visualization method that includes a ball or a Reiki teddy bear. I have a whole stack of those from teaching Reiki. They look like any other teddy bear. Okay, they're a surrogate is what they are. Beginners use a surrogate, something that's got a head and 4 little limbs and 2 legs, 2 arms, and a torso. And they do long distance Reiki on their surrogate until they realize, I don't need the surrogate. I can just think about it. And you can send Reiki through that. At that level, you start understanding that praying is sending Reiki. Meditating is sending Reiki. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's all by intention. You can intend for somebody to benefit from a Reiki treatment. And they are free to accept or decline. Can you stop a Reiki treatment is a better question that kind of ties into something we asked earlier. Yes, you can stop a Reiki treatment. Remember, I mentioned you don't have to have permission because it's a natural state of the universe for chi to flow. Therefore, pushing it along is a natural state of existence too. You can refuse Reiki. You can stop it. You can consciously, if you don't know about it, that's one thing. If you do know about it and you're not interested, you're not in the mood, or you're trying to drive the car and you don't need your, sweet intentioned kid to say, here, mom, I know you got a bum shoulder. Let me treat it for you. And you're like, dang, that's making me woozy. All right, no, son, I'm trying to drive. Please don't do that while I'm driving. You can do that. You can stop Reiki by intention because energy follows intention. Reiki moves energy.
That reminds me of this one, which I thought was a good.
Yeah.
The Reiki is still working. So you got these 2 horses in a pasture, and they're looking at a 3rd horse that's laying down. And one says, I thought you treated her over an hour ago. I did. Are you going to wake her? No, the Reiki is still working.
Yes, people fall asleep on our Reiki table all the time. All the time we fall asleep. And the professional guidance is, unless you've got another appointment right after them, let them sleep. And almost everybody wakes up about 5 minutes later, slowly. And they tell us about amazing visions and dreams that they had while they were out there with their spirit guides and all kinds of cool stuff. So Reiki, thinking about that, I'm thinking about treatments, the way, because we've been doing this for so many years, we integrate other stuff in our Reiki treatments. When I say our, I'm speaking about my husband, David Sears, who's also a Reiki master teacher. We tend to include shamanic processes. So now we just call it shamanic Reiki treatments. There's drumming, there's bells, there's crystal, there's a ton of crystals involved, all kinds of good stuff. And yes, that relates back to long distance Reiki, which you just popped up. So, and crystals. And we do all kinds of shamanic healing that Reiki is an accelerant of. And we don't always touch you. It's long distance. It is. So I'm shifting gears. What you're looking at here is called a Reiki Master Crystal Grid. And beside it to the right is a Master Wand. That one happens to be made of selenite. And what happens is in a sacred process, in a ritual that involves clearing and smoke, smudging, or moonlight or whatever cleansing, clearing ritual you want to use on 7 little stones of your choosing. Each Reiki master can make their own grid, their own personal grid. You pick out your own little 7 stones. And in this ritual, you place them in a certain pattern on top of this specific 3-legged Antakarana symbol that is an amplification symbol that is more than 10,000 years old from the Tibetan tradition. I got a whole chapter I wrote about that, where it came from and what it means, and about 12 different cultures that also discovered it at the same time, 10,000 years ago. Talk about mass collective consciousness and tipping point. But anyway, back to here, we call it by its name of Antakarana, and it is used as an accelerant. All these crystals work together. They are programmed. They are attuned with the Reiki teacher that is, or the Reiki master, sorry, that is putting it together. The box is specifically a 6-sided shape on purpose. That's part of it. And then the Reiki master uses that wand and moves it in a specific wheel spoke pattern to activate the crystals and the chi moving through those crystals towards an intention that the master has in their mind or has written down on a piece of paper and placed it over or under the box. And the energy goes right to that intention. It will do it continuously after the Reiki master has put the wand down and walked away. The box will keep treating that idea, thing, or person as long as that idea, thing, or person wants it to. It's infinite. And you can stack up hundreds, thousands of people intentions on that box. It's unlimited. So one way to get help, if you know somebody has a Reiki grid or somebody that's a Reiki master that studied that, you can say, please put me on your Reiki grid. Or you can offer it. I will put you on my Reiki grid, which means I'm going to have Reiki sent to you from the high vibrating universe 24/7.
Wow.
It's a gift. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And some Reiki masters have more than one grid, which blows my mind. But
would you use different stones to have different effects? I mean, or is it the same stones in everybody's grid?
No, it's different stones for every single person. Some people use 7 of the same type of stone. Some people use the 7 chakra colors. Some people just intuitively go to a crystal stone store and walk around going, okay, who wants to be on my grid? You do. All right, pick you up, put you in the pile, pick you up, put you in the pile. And then they intuitively pick them out.
But you just said, like, okay, so like you can do one grid and put lots of people
On it.
On it. So
yeah.
But then you said something about there's different kinds of grids. I'm messed up. Something.
That's okay. No, people have multiple grids. They have the exact same thing, a 7-stone configuration inside of a 6-sided box that has been programmed and attenuated to send Reiki perpetually to wherever the owner tells it to. Okay. By the way, the wand can do more than activate this box. It does other stuff too.
Yeah.
But that's a sidebar. So you can have that going, and then another set of crystals over here also going, and they work independent of each other, or one of them can do the work of both. In other words, having more than one grid is redundant.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I also know that
people like crystals. They just want more crystals.
And different crystals do have different qualities. So I didn't know if
that's your understanding.
Nope. Yeah,
that's your understanding of how crystals work. So that's how it's going to work for you, because energy follows intention. So since you have that understanding of crystals, then that's how yours would work. So for you, in that belief system, you would probably pick out a bunch of green stones, because the green stones and the white stones are the 2 big healer stones that can affect all things else. So you would probably pick out one that's mostly green or mostly green and white.
But I'm also good. I mean, and that is something that other people, I've always been like
That's
a
a
rock
popular
collector and stuff
understand.
like
Yeah,
that.
that's a
And
popular
people go, "Oh, well,
understanding.
if you've got this, then you need this stone, and if you've got that,
Uh-huh.
you need this stone." And it's like,
Yeah.
I've got these books that tell me, and I'm like, "Oh God, I just, it's just too complicated." I would rather go into a place and go,
Intuitively.
"Oh, yeah," and I've done that, but then I get them and I don't know what to do with them.
I
But
can
it's
help you with that. I can help you
okay.
with that. We'll do that in another conversation. You know what? Let's have a show on that. Let's talk about
That would be
crystals.
good. Yeah, yeah.
This crystal grid you're looking at is mine. My husband has one as well. Um, and I picked out those pieces intuitively. Yeah, that one's mine. That's an apopkite in the middle. There's turquoise. There is selenite. There is looks like rose creosote. Also a piece of amber. And I'm not sure what the two dark ones are. But anyway, they all intuitively told me that they wanted to be there. And crystals can do everything. Everything. So they know what they're doing better than I do. They told me they wanted to be there, they're there. And they participate in our classes when we teach it. But that's called a Reiki crystal grid, or a Reiki master crystal grid, or a healing crystal grid, a Reiki healing crystal grid. That's all those nomers are,
Yeah.
all those words mean the exact same thing. And almost always the lid is closed. For the photograph, the lid is open, but almost always the lid is closed, because Reiki crystal grids are considered extremely personal property. It's considered rude to touch or mess with someone else's crystal grid without their permission. However, we've had plenty of parents that said, my 3-year-old went right in there and took out all my rose quartz. What do I do? Is my child going to hell? No, she is not. She is a very sacred creature. She vibrates high enough that she knows when she can go get a crystal, and she took mommy's Reiki crystal, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's in the class, in the textbook, the instructions for how to create and recharge and charge and recreate a box. The steps are there. I tell them just use the steps and buy more stones, or find more stones, or steal your stones back from your kid when they put them down, and just rebuild it again. And this
Speak.
is very sage advice.
Yeah, this is like brass knuckles, but instead on the outside it's a bunch of crystals, and it's called crystal brass knuckles for when mother
Motherfuckers.
yeah, right. Yeah, they've got
When
it
those
spelled.
motherfuckers need their chakras realigned.
Wham.
That gonna hurt. That can hurt.
Very much. Well, I
Oh,
wanted to throw that one in, but
humor
we've
is
got
very, very welcome. Even the world of Reiki. Oh my
yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I want to show a couple of things just so people will know, because we're going over time here.
Yeah.
Um, but you've got several websites. One, and I'll run the
If you want to pop it up, I'll show that. That is William Lee Rand's website called Reiki.org. It is a comprehensive website, every single thing you would want to know about Reiki, and it's accurate. There are charlatan Reiki websites out there on the internet. If you want the real deal, Reiki.org by William Lee Rand is chock full. They even put out a magazine. It's really awesome. He's a very, very ethical and wise person. Reiki.org is that website.
okay, and then we've got
Indigo Answers is mine.
yeah, I've got to find it in my, and I'm not sure which one I'm pulling up. So
I'll tell you what it is when it comes.
okay,
That one's Indigo Answers. Indigo Answers by Margo and David. You can find out about all of our services: Reiki, weddings, drum circles, fire circles on occasion, resources like animal totems, Harry Potter replica letters and staves and wands and stuff like that. We do some of that artwork as well, and books. I am the author of all 4 levels of Reiki studies, and my book series is called Learn Reiki. Learn Reiki 1, Learn Reiki 2, Learn Reiki Master, and Learn Reiki Master Teacher. And they're color coded. They're green, orange, blue, yellow. And you can see the covers of them right there. And that is a picture of my husband's hands treating one of my closest friends, Amy's hands in the picture. You can see more of both of them inside the book. Altogether, there's probably about 400 photos. Literally, all 4 books are how-to, and they are designed for teachers to teach a human. This is not a self-taught series. This series is designed for interaction, learning, and eventually getting an attunement from another human. Just relevant sidebar. This is not a self-teaching series.
Okay. And then, you've got your on Amazon, and I just pulled up. So, like, if you look up Margo on Amazon, you
Margo
can
Ross
find the books
Sears.
there. Yeah.
Yep. They are available in electronic form as well. Or if you want the paper version with a spiral spine so you can lay flat and follow along, you order the paper version directly from me. But the electronic version is available on Amazon for a lesser price
Nice.
as well. Yeah, it's a Kindle edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then that was that.
Networktolight.net is our Lua organization,
Yeah.
Light and Energy Workers Association, which actually came out of my Reiki practice. Originally, that was a group of my Reiki graduates who wanted to spend more time with each other with like minds, energy workers, light workers like themselves. Now that they had graduated and were no longer in class, they were still jonesing to be together. And there's a Margo, please create some community. We need to be with each other. And I said, hell no. And then Spirit said, hell yes. And kept pushing it and kept pushing it. People from totally different walks of life that had no idea about the other groups, they all came at me within like 3 days asking me for the exact same thing and had no knowledge of each other. It was uncanny. And I was like, okay, I'll take that hint. And Lua was born. Lua came out of that back in 04. Indigo
Wow.
Answers started in 03, and Lua started in 04. Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So with that, you've given us a lot of information, and there's still a ton more that we can talk about at
Yeah.
another time, and we will.
We'll
But
do a part 2 sometime.
yeah, but
Yeah.
next week we're going to talk about the Rainbow Bridge. Which, if you're not familiar, you can Google it. But the Rainbow Bridge is when pets pass away and they're crossing over and I think it was based on a famous, like, a poem or something somebody wrote about the
Yeah.
Rainbow Bridge. And
I
so
think
anyway,
so.
I think
I,
I have to
we'll,
look up
we'll
the
look
history.
it. We'll look it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, we've got some stories to tell and some things to share on that. So
Yeah. How do animals deal with all this spiritual shifting? If all the humans are
well,
going from 3-dimensional to third dimension to fourth dimension to fifth dimension, what are those 1 and 2D creatures, pets, animals? What are they doing? The
hmm.
planet Gaia itself is shifting. Are we going to have a bunch of cats, dogs, cows, crocodiles, and birds floating out in space? Where did it all go? No. We will talk about what we feel, sense, read may happen, and
Yes.
possibly even right in front of your eyes eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next week, we will be on YouTube. We'll put the link on Facebook again. But we appreciate everybody that joined us today.
Thank
It
you.
has
Thank
been
you.
wonderful. Thank you for all the information and all the love, Margo. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Namaste. Thank you for being here, everybody, and for listening to me. It was fun.
Yes.
Good night.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margo Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details, www.facebook.com/eyesofindigo. Show is copyrighted 2021 by Iris Carter and Margo Ross.